to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Hello and welcome to the MMA Fan Show. I'm Stu with him. Joining me always is Mr. Blake Harrison. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. I'm very good because I cannot bloody wait for Hamzat versus Drius. I am so excited about that fight. I'm buzzing about it, to be honest. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I'm really excited to watch two friends of the show have some scraps next week. Michael Venom Paige, first guest we ever had in the studio, the night ahead of him announcing his signing to the UFC. So big fans of MVP. And Lerona, I think we've had on 2 or 3 times. I definitely
loads now.
Verify that he is a good friend of the show, and they've got some fantastic scraps coming up this weekend, which we will talk about. But before we get on to that, there's been some big news, Blake Harrison, and I know that you're keen to discuss it.
There's been some huge news in the world of the UFC.
Can you do a jingle for huge news?
Well, do you know what we should do a jingle for first? And that is Fat Candy.
Absolutely. Freeze Dried Sweets. Go get them. Head over to Fat Candy. You can find them on Instagram and on TikTok. And when you're over there, pop your stuff in your basket, then use the discount code SWEETMMA and save yourself some money because they are the official sponsors of the MMA Fan Show.
Yes.
Blake Harrison, create me a little jingle for huge news, please.
Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Huge news. I was kind of incorporating. Thank you, mate. Thank you. I was incorporating like the BBC. Like it really should have been like, UFC signed new TV rights deal. $7.7 billion.
I prefer huge news. That was much better.
Huge news. So there you go. Did I tell you I was once in a musical, mate? Yeah, you can tell, right?
Mate, it shows.
On the old West End stage, darlings. Right, let's crack on. So there's been a lot of wondering about what is going to be happening, speculating, if you will, about where the UFC will be signing their TV rights deal now that they are finished with ESPN at the end of 2025.
This is just America, right? Let's make that clear.
This is just America. Just so you know, UK fans, Irish fans, Australian fans, if we have any left, European fans, Canadian fans, this won't affect you yet. But it might affect you going forward because the deal is quite extraordinary. People were thinking it was Netflix, maybe Amazon, or re-upping with ESPN, maybe a split deal. Like there's a lot of sports out there, the WWE being one of them, where who is also under that TKO umbrella, that have like on Netflix everywhere in the world other than like America where it's Raw's on Netflix. I think SmackDown's on maybe like Peacock or something like that. Something else is on another channel. Like they've got everything is sort of spread across everywhere. That's how they felt like they made the most money. The UFC, there was a lot of speculation about where they would go. They've ended up on Paramount Plus and CBS, which is basically one big channel, CBS being the channel you get on your normal telly, and Paramount Plus being the streaming platform, which we also get here in the UK, but you won't be able to get UFC on Paramount Plus in the UK, just for America. This is at the start of 2026. This is all going to roll out. The deal is worth $7.7 billion. Just to put that into numbers, to I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but previously ESPN were paying the UFC per year about $500 million. Now Paramount and CBS are coming in and paying them per year for 7 years, $1.1 billion. They have doubled the revenue coming their way on this TV deal. It is really extraordinary. The other factor that is going to be amazing for fans, we think, is they are done with pay-per-views. if you are an American UFC fan, and I have to say, I felt sorry for Americans over the years. I know that we don't get prime time UFC, which can be a pain in the ass, but you're an American fan and a good card's coming on, numbered card, you're paying like $80 for that card. And some of them aren't worth it, let's be completely honest. Some of them are, some of them are not. So if you want to keep up with everything, you're forking out $80 a month, sometimes twice a month. Like in October, you will be forking out twice a month to 2 pay-per-views. Now there's none of that. You're just going to pay your subscription. And apparently Paramount Plus is a subscription that's about $7.99 per month with ads, about $12.99 per month without ads. That'll probably go up. It would be crazy for them to keep that at the same price. There might be an additional UFC package that you have to pay for. Maybe it's $14.99 a month. Maybe it's something like whatever it might be. But that is still a huge saving when you were previously paying in America for ESPN Plus and then paying for pay-per-views on top of that. You're making a huge saving now. This is fantastic for fans because you're not only getting the UFC. If you subscribe to Paramount Plus, I think, wasn't Yellowstone on there? My brother loves that show, thinks that's really good, and there's spin-offs of that have been really good. I haven't seen it.
Mobland was on there, wasn't it?
Mobland, the new Frasier series. I don't know if it's any good, but that's on it. And you're just like, so you're not just having to pay for the UFC. Right now, I've got TNT Sports. I've only got it for the UFC. I'm not interested in the football or any other sports. If the UFC sign with a Paramount Plus, an Amazon or whatever, or Apple, whatever it is that they go to when they start jigging their European deals, I would love it if they went to a platform where I'm like, there's other content I want to watch on this as well. Whereas with TNT, there's just not. So, for fans, I think this is fantastic. They're going to save money. They get other content as well they might enjoy. The other factor is CBS and Paramount are splashing the cash because they've just paid 1 billion for the rights of all the South Park stuff. New episodes, old episodes, all of that. So something's gone on there with, I don't know enough about this deal, but there's someone that's come in that's bought Paramount and CBS as far as I'm aware. Something had to, again, my limited understanding of this, there may be something else going on out there. Allegedly, I'm going to say, because I don't want to cover my back, allegedly there was some kind of issue with the deal, this person coming in, and there was some legislation that needed to be changed. Was Donald Trump involved in that change in legislation? Maybe. I don't know. But
I can't imagine Donald Trump is in any rush to get more eyes on South Park because they're doing some very, very impressive Donald Trump content at the moment.
Well, that's interesting. But, I mean, is it coincidental that, again, I can't remember the name of this guy who started up, who's taken over Paramount CBS, but he was sat a few months back alongside Donald, alongside Dana at a UFC event. And now there's this huge, extraordinary deal. There are commenters out there saying that there's something going on, there's some connections there. Whether that's true or not, I just don't know. I don't know. But it's certainly interesting. But the point is, in terms of if you're a UFC fan based in America, I think your life's going to be made a lot easier and nicer. And you'll be able to enjoy this product for less.
What if you're a fighter?
Well, that's where things get interesting. Because if you are a fighter, especially if you are one of the elite fighters that main events, and particularly if you're a champion on pay-per-view points, like a certain Tom Aspinall now is, Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, these guys that are big draws, Alex Pereira's, you're probably thinking, what's going to happen here? Because you were getting pay-per-view points. And those pay-per-view points were probably way more, especially if you're a good draw, way more than your base rate for a fight. So what happens now with fighters like that? How are they now compensated? Do they just get a massive increase in their flat rate? Is it show and win? Is it, if we stream this amount of numbers, we'll give you a bonus, even though it doesn't actually bring in any more or less money to the UFC. They've got their money now, or they will. I don't know. I don't know. It's all up in the air. I think if you're a fighter, especially if you're a champion, you probably are talking to your manager regularly going, what does this mean? What's going to happen? How is this going to work? And Dana, I think, has come out and said that, you know, people will deal with that. We've got months to deal with that. It doesn't start till January, so we've got time to deal with that, which is fair enough. But certainly if you are a fighter, if you are worried about getting paid less now, even though you're a champion and all that stuff, I think that is a concern that is valid. Hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully they will get paid the same kind of money, just in a slightly different way. I don't know, maybe in a more favourable way. If their flat rate just goes up, then that's great. That's great for all the fighters. But there is no guarantee of that as of yet. No one has come out and said, this is our plan. This is how we're compensating these fighters for not getting pay-per-view points. So it's still a bit up in the air. Hopefully a deal will be done where it works out well for the fighters, but we just don't know as it stands. Dana White has also kind of come out and, you know, it does seem like pay-per-view is effectively dead now. That's not what people are going to be going for. However, just so that we all know, Dana White has come out and said this. There's no pay-per-views involved in the deal. Let's say there's no pay-per-view involved in this deal, is what he said. However, let's say there's a scenario I'm involved in boxing, I'm involved in slapping. Weird for him to say that. That's only just connected with me.
Yeah, that's not what you want to be saying, Dana.
Don't say that, Dana. Someone come in and PR that. I'm involved in jiu-jitsu. I'm involved in the UFC. What I love about this business is I can lay out what we think the fights are going to be for a year, and a fight will pop up that I never saw coming. A star will pop up out of nowhere. Anything is possible, and I could do a one-off pay-per-view. I'm going to be doing pay-per-view this Saturday. Pay-per-view is not dead. So, yeah, interesting. So he's leaving the door open. If something special happens, maybe the White House card, something like that. If anything special happens, maybe they will go, oh, you've got your subscription to Paramount Plus. You're paying £15, £20 a month, whatever it might be for that. We are also doing a pay-per-view on top of that now as well. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But it does look like, for the most part, pay-per-view is no more in the United States. It is going to be your subscription to Paramount Plus and your CBS on your TV and all that stuff, and that will handle 90%, if not more, of what the UFC has to offer. If you are a UK fan, as I'm assuming most people listening to this are, we've still got a few years left on our TNT deal. I don't know when it's up, but I think we've got a couple of years left. TNT as a business model usually try and do 2 pay-per-views a year that you have to pay for as a British consumer. One of those, I believe, is going to be Tom Aspinall's pay-per-view in October. We're going to have to pay 20, 25 quid for that. With pay-per-view being dead in America, we're oddly going to be in a position that they've been in for years, where we'll be looking at them getting it just for free or a subscription and going, oh, there's a couple of pay-per-views a year we actually have to pay for.
What if you use the Paramount Plus app and
a cheeky VPN?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I guess you'd be all right, would you? I don't know. If you log into... it's so tricky. Oh, do you know what? I'd be interested to know, because like, if you're on Netflix and I go abroad and I have then got Netflix in another country, I get all of their whatever's in their country. And it might be that the UK, say the UK's showing Friends, but Hungary isn't, and I'm filming in Budapest, I can't watch Friends unless I throw my VPN on and say I'm still in England. If you're on Paramount Plus in the UK and you go to America, is that the same? Or if you say you are in America, is that the same? I don't know. I don't know if that would be the same, because it's going to be such a different package. So I don't know how that would work. But unless you set your thing to VPN America and then sign up as an American, I don't. Pete, I'm basically technologically Amish, so I don't know how this stuff all works.
I'm 52, so let's not get me involved in a conversation. Yeah. I peaked with, do you think a VPN could work? I didn't actually think about anything.
I'm amazed that you even know what one is. So if anyone out there with more tech savvy than us, maybe you can answer that question. I don't know. But we as consumers in the UK do have a little bit of time left on the TNT deal, and we will have to deal with, I believe, paying for a pay-per-view for the Aspinall card and see where we go from here, and obviously doing our subscriptions. But I would be very interested in the UFC eventually changing things up and going to, ideally, a streaming platform I already have, like a Netflix or something like that. But we will see. The other thing I just wanted to say was that the UFC, Dana White, has said that because of this TV deal, bonuses will go up. I don't believe there's been any figures, anything about that. I don't know if that's a way of appeasing people because this is such a monumental, financially lucrative deal.
That doesn't cover all fighters.
Yeah, exactly. So, but is this a way of appeasing people? Oh, bonuses are going up. But really, a lot of fighters are still going to be on 10 and 10, especially when they're starting out. Like, I don't know. But in terms of bonuses, we got a question the other week when we did 2 questions episodes, and we did someone, I believe it was Doodle MMA, sent us a question about bonuses and whether the UFC were being cheap. Now, I answered that question, and that episode is probably going to come out in a couple of weeks' time because we parked it. We didn't have enough time to do other episodes, so we parked that. That will probably be coming out in a couple of weeks' time. But I just thought that will feel very dated now, and I just wanted to flag up a couple of things for people, and I'm sorry if you listen to this effectively again in a couple of weeks. But we shouldn't be necessarily like throwing loads of praise at the UFC because they say, oh, bonuses are definitely going up. It's about time. Bonuses are going up. Let's just give you a couple of figures regarding the bonuses. So the UFC have been giving out fight night bonuses since 2007. Back then it was the sub of the night, KO of the night, and I think fight of the night. Nowadays, if you adjust for inflation, if you just kept that the same, that bonus would now be $77,784. $77,784.77. That $50K has depreciated by like 27 grand, effectively. Fighters should now, if inflation was considered with the UFC bonuses, be getting $77,000, nearly $78,000 per bonus. The bonuses as we know them today change the performance of the night and fight of the night. And that's been going since UFC Fight Night 36 in February of 2014. So even if we're kind to the UFC here and we don't consider bonuses started in 2007, but we take it from when they started in February 2014, still with inflation, that bonus today should be $67,894.25. As you can tell, maths is not my strong point. Even speaking about maths, I'm stumbling. So obviously the UFC has been slow to upgrade, inflate these bonuses. One other factor that I'd like to point out with this is in 2007, the UFC was valued by Forbes at $1.1 billion. In 2014, so when the Fight Night bonuses changed, they were valued by Forbes at $1.65 billion. In April of 2024, because this is the last valuation I could find, April of 2024, Forbes valued the UFC at $11.3 billion. The way that the UFC has grown financially has been astronomical since 2014. And the bonuses have still stayed the same for fighters. To go from 1.6 billion to 11.3 billion is insane. And you've still kept the bonuses the same all this time. And now, on top of that, you have just landed a $7.7 billion deal over 7 years with Paramount Plus. I mean, damn fucking right the bonuses go up, guys. I mean, at minimum, the bonuses should be going up. Now, we'll wait and see how much they go up. We'll wait and see if they start giving out more bonuses, if they give bonuses for finishes or anything like that. But, guys, like, yeah. I mean, the bonuses going up is like the smallest thing you could do. There should be so much more going on. And I really hope there is. There'll probably be people moaning at me going, yeah, we haven't given them a chance yet. Fair enough. We haven't given them a chance yet. But given the statistics I've just read out, it doesn't seem like they are super eager to upgrade fighter pay or fighter bonuses. And there's a lot of things up in the air at the moment. So, yeah, I just thought that was a thing we should put out there and throw out there. Let's not start going, oh, well done, UFC. You've upped the bonuses. Yay, brilliant. It's like, guys, it's been since 2007. These bonuses should have gone up a long, long time ago. Right. I'm sure I've bored everyone enough with the terrible MMA math that I've done there. It's not the MMA math that you came for, but it's what you've got. Let's move on to something more exciting and more fun, and the thing that I'm absolutely buzzing about, and that is Drius du Plessis versus Hamzat Shimayv.
Yeah, boy.
Do you want to take the floor a little bit? Because I've just been rambling for however long we've been going.
But I bumped into each other yesterday at some of the media, one of the media days.
I haven't seen this. Go on.
I was very, very affable. Chamays just went straight up to Drius and shook his hand, and they were sort of chatting, and it all seemed very, very respectful. Now, looking at this, like I think the questions are we need to ask, right? Can Chamays wrestling, his sort of dominance in that, is that likely to dethrone? Is that the way to dethrone Drius at the belt? I think if we start with that, because Hamzat's going in there as a huge favourite. I think it's trying to get the odds up. Du Plessis is the underdog, plus 170. So yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. Let's get around this by tying up with one question. Is Drius going to be able to deal with Hamzat's grappling?
We're going to find out quick, I think. I mean, Hamzat only has one speed, and he just bulldozes straight into you and tries to take you down. Khabib apparently came out recently and said Hamzat should strike with him. That's a terrible idea. I mean, obviously Khabib knows more about MMA than I do, but I don't see why that would be the plan. This is the fascinating thing. This is old school WWF Gorilla Monsoon saying, you know, it's the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. We've got the absolutely stacked, incredibly strong, well-rounded but super awkward champion in Drius du Plessis, and then
how do you train for that?
How do you train for? Well, it's a good question. How do you train for his style that's so awkward to deal with? So many great fighters, great strikers have been so stumped by him.
Had a Sonya.
But yeah, exactly. But
Sean
then
Strickland.
I wouldn't put him in the same.
He's a decent striker. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
But
no, I hear you. No, you're right. You're right. But Hamzat is just a guy that's like runs at you as soon as the bell goes and just goes for your leg, and you can't get away from him. He's got both knees on the floor. You're still on your feet, and he's just grabbing at your legs.
And he's already run to the octagon as well.
And he drags you down, and you just can't get him off you. And he's so lethal and brutal in there. I mean, I don't know, man. That's what makes this fight so great, is you've got two absolute powerhouses just going at it, and something's got to give at some point. The other reason I absolutely love this fight is all the stories kind of going into it. And to me, I look at this fight and these fighters' journeys, and it's very much two different types of fighter, or two fighters that have had two very different stories in the way they entered the UFC. You know, you've got Hamzat, who burst onto the scene, and in like 6 weeks or 2 months, whatever it was, beat 3 opponents back during the pandemic. We all just went, oh my God, the MMA gods have just unleashed this titan onto the UFC roster. And he's just going to clear everyone out. After 3 fights, they were trying to book him against Leon Edwards, who at the time was probably on like an 8-fight win streak or something like that. He was this mythical beast that was just tearing things up in the octagon. And we all thought, well, that's a future champ. But not only a future champ, like he could be a 3-weight world champ. He at least a double champ. Like, this guy's insane. We had anointed him the best thing in MMA. And his progress slowed down with I think he caught COVID and there's all these other things, and then there was the visa issues. Yeah. And his progress slowed down, and it's like, oh, are we finally going to see the end to this story or not? And is he going to get that belt? And if he does, it will feel like we've known all along that it was going to happen, because he was just so dominant. Let me just finish. But then you get Drius, who has the complete opposite story. Drius is a guy that came in, was beating everyone, but after every fight we were like, yeah, but he's not that good. Yeah, but he's so awkward. Oh, it was weird. Like, oh, he's gassing out, and he somehow got there. Like, every fight he had, he was like an underdog in, and we just stopped. We never believed in him. Hamzat had our belief immediately. And Drius had to really earn that belief from the MMA community, because no one wanted to say that this style was going to work. And then he finally beats Rob, and we're like, oh, maybe we do have to respect him a bit. Then he became a champion, and we're like, oh, well, yeah, but it's still just, Sean Strickland, whatever. And then he beat Izzy, and we were like, we can't keep underrating this man. We have to finally go, it may not be a style we've seen before, but it fucking works. And he has earned the respect, whereas Hamzat he earned it, but we lavished it on him because we were so impressed by him. And the differences of these stories going into this fight fascinates me. Just how polarizing their starts were in the UFC and where they've got to today, I find fascinating.
You think that kind of period of inactivity and questions over Chamayev's health and the visa issues, and we've seen weight issues previously. Do you think that's all just going to be thrown in the pot and fuel the fire for his hunger to just come out and do something special at the weekend?
Maybe. I think I think he's just always felt like he was destined to be champion. You hear him talk.
He's never lacked.
Yeah, you hear him talk, like when he was interviewed by like Brett Okamoto and stuff like that on ESPN and stuff. He talks and it's just like so casual. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to be a 3-weight world champion. It's like, it's just casual. And so I don't know. It does seem like he has set some things in place to help with certain things. Like in terms of health stuff, he talks about staying at home because he doesn't want to go out. Fans come up to him, a fan is sick and they infect him or a teammate and then he gets ill, because he's clearly had a lot of health issues in the past. So I don't know. In terms of his future, I'd like to know what you think of this. Like, what do you think's a more fun outcome in terms of matches going forward? Is Dricus du Plessis as the champ or Hamzat Chimaev as the champ more fun?
I mean, you've got to look at the potential fights, because looking at what's happening in the middleweight division, you just think, okay, so what do we want to see? Do we want to see Dricus fight these people again, a lot of them? Or do we want to see Hamzat, go and fight? So, I mean, look.
Well, can I just say something on that? Because I don't think there's any rematches coming up. I think it's all fresh matchups for both guys. You look at that middleweight division now, and it's in a great place. You've got Carl Borralho versus Imavov, fresh matchups for both guys.
Borralho, the backup fighter for this, who has come out and said that let me quote this. Carl Borralho has been named as the backup for the main event and admits he's very suspicious something unusual may be brewing with either du Plessis or Chimaev. I mean, this adds even more intrigue to it. I mean, I don't know if that's if Borralho,
If you're a backup fighter for a Hamzat Chimaev fight, you're training hard. You're ready, because that guy is not reliable. And that is another thing about him being a champion that we're like, oh, is this going to be okay?
What do you think? What do you think's the best outcome for the middleweight division?
Do you know what I don't? Because I think so. When you look at the middleweight division, it's in such a great place because you've got Carl Borralho versus Imavov. I think the winner of that probably should be getting the title shot next. But Renier Derrida, a lot of people are like, Renier Derrida could get a title shot. It's no problem. And I tell you what, Fluffy Hernandez of the week had just gone. What he did to Leite was very impressive. And I think any one of those four individuals is a great fight for either guy. I want to see it. You know, the winner of Borralho Imavov has earned that shot. Renier Derrida, you could argue, has already earned that shot. But if you make Renier Derrida versus Fluffy Hernandez, I'm all for that. And the winner of that gets the next shot. Like, there is no talk of Rob Whittaker, Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland. There's no talk of these guys at the moment. They're not in the conversation.
I'm presuming, I've not actually looked at the rankings. I'm imagining after he's lost Whittaker, he's probably maybe even slipped out the top 10 now, maybe.
I doubt he's out of the top 10, but I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
And so I'm imagining that if, you know, we're potentially going to see Adesanya Strickland too. I think that's a fight I know that Izzy's desperate for. Does Strickland want that? Does Strickland think he could, you know? When is Strickland going to be able to fight? He's suspended. I don't know. Well, yeah, I keep forgetting he's a fucking idiot. Yeah.
But,
okay. If you had to get off the fence a little bit and go, right, who wins this and how? What are you saying?
It could go either way, man. It's hard to get off the fence on this one. I love the fight so much. It's like I think we're gonna know what the outcome of this fight will be in the first 3 or 4 minutes. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. I think either Hamzat is going to maul him, and even if Drius can survive a little bit, I think Hamzat is just, if he can get him down early, I think that's the story of the fight, and I think Drius is in trouble.
Yeah.
However, if Drius has been competitive, kept him off him a bit, you know, dealt with maybe a couple of bits on the ground, but got back to his feet and started striking again, and Drius is staring at Hamzat Shimayv, and 8 minutes of the fight have already gone, I think Drius takes this fight. Because I'm not sure that Hamzat will have the ability in the championship rounds. We've not really seen it. We've seen him slow down in fights before. The Kamaru Usman fight, you know, he 10-8'd Usman by my scorecard in round 1. Then he lost round 2. And then I thought he lost round 3. And I felt like that should have been a draw, that fight. So, yeah, I think if Drius is there, if round 3 starts, I'd think Drius is going to win this fight. But I'm so fascinated. That first 5 minutes, I'm going to be on tenterhooks. I'm on the edge of my seat. Just cannot wait to see what happens in the first 5 minutes of that fight. I think it's going to be so bloody fascinating.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. Do we want to start talking about friend of the show, Lerone Murphy?
Yeah, what a great opportunity for him in a weird position because he's put all these wins together. He's like, you know, the Leon Edwards, the Bilal Mohammeds that have put all these wins together now, but people are still just not talking about him enough. And this is an opportunity. It's nowhere near Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. It's nowhere near that because Nate was a superstar. But it could have a similar effect in that he could do this fight and then get to a title shot, potentially. He might still need one more afterwards, but he's certainly in the conversation if he puts on a great performance in this fight. Now, some people might be going, but why? Pico's making his UFC debut. Pico is a big deal in America. He has been lauded as you know, this prodigal son, this future MMA superstar for a few years now. And not for, you know, for good reason. For good reason. He is a national wrestling champion. He was an Olympic alternate, which means, you know, if he didn't quite make the Olympic team, but if anyone got injured, he was coming in. That shows how good his wrestling is. It was potentially Olympic level wrestling.
Wasn't though, was it?
Well, it was nearly Olympic level wrestling, which is pretty bloody good. He's also a junior. He's also a junior Golden Gloves champion in boxing. So he can strike with you and he can take you down and he can mix it up well. His last loss was in 2020 because of a shoulder injury. And prior to that, he was on a win streak as well. So he hasn't properly lost a fight for a long time. He looks great. As I said, wrestles to a high standard, boxes to a high standard. But I think you could make the argument that he's not fought anyone as good as Lerone Murphy.
And he's not fought in the UFC yet.
And we have seen people struggle. Look at Patchy Mix. Look at Pitbull's first fight. You know, these guys that were huge deals in Bellator, champions in Bellator and the PFL. They come over to the UFC, lose their first fight. It's just a different beast. And some people just can't handle it. Or they don't handle it well in their debuts. I mean, hell, Magomed Ankalaev lost to Paul Craig in his debut. Went on to become a champion. So it's nothing, there's no shame in losing UFC debut. It happens to some great, great fighters. But it might be really great for Lerone Murphy. If Aaron Pico is in his head a little bit, the bright lights get to him a little bit, maybe Lerone Murphy can have an extra thing on his side that means he gets to win this fight. And he may not need it. Because Lerone Murphy is a very good fighter. No, he's not flashy. He's not getting knockouts left, right, and centre. But he puts on great fights, He's fought Edson Barbosa, Dan Ige, Josh Emmett. I know they're not the elite of the elite, but they are stalwarts of that kind of like top 10 in the featherweight division. So he's definitely seen tough guys in the past, maybe more so than Aaron Pico. So that's in Lerone's side. The thing that worries me is the last time Lerone fought a decent wrestler was Makwan Amirkhani, who is not as good as Pico in my opinion. And Amirkhani got him down and was all over him in that first round. And then Lerone caught him in the second round with a big knee as Amirkhani went in for the takedown. But that was a long time ago. Don't think so. I don't think so. I can't remember. But that was brilliant. That was a great finish for Lerone. He got the finish. But there's moments in that fight we go, oh, how's he going to do with someone like Pico, who's a fantastic wrestler? However, it has to be said, that fight was 4 years ago.
That was my point I was about to make. Lerone has evolved into something very special now.
Yeah, Lerone has got better and better and better. So you would have thought that he has filled that hole in his game, and we saw his offensive wrestling against Edson Barbosa. So he's definitely improved in that area. So I really hope Lerone does it and wins. I mean, he is taking this fight on sort of short notice. What is it, about 3 weeks? He was given 3-4 weeks, something like that, for this fight. So he's taking it on short notice. Pico was already in camp to fight Movsar Evloev. So Pico was already on it, getting ready for a fight. So it's this weird thing about you've got a guy on his debut taking on a guy on short notice. Which one of those is worse? I don't know.
It should make for a great fight.
It should make for a great fight. Is it a number one contender fight? I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think if Pico wins, it could be. I think they've got this name that they've probably paid a few quid for, and they'll probably strap a rocket to him. For me, if Lerone wins, it's how Lerone wins. If he sparks him, then we're talking, if not a title shot, like one fight away from it. Because Lerone's record is phenomenal. I think it all depends how this fight goes, because there are people that are not big fans of Lerone because he's not got this huge highlight reel. A lot of people were moaning about his fight style when he fought Josh Emmett. If you're going to fight Josh Emmett, don't go and stand in the pocket and just go and swing with him, because you'll end up in hospital. So what Lerone done was outfought him and fought smart, which isn't always the most exciting thing for bloodthirsty fans. But when you're trying to work your way up to get a title shot, you do what you need to do to win that fight. And if you need to outsmart Josh Emmett by fighting smart, do it. because there's no glory in standing there and getting absolutely destroyed by one of the, someone with some of the heaviest hands in the UFC. And so I think...
Just ask Bryce Mitchell.
I think he still hasn't woke up from that. And when he did, he was talking all sorts of shit and seems to have continued to have done that as well.
It's true.
But I think if Lerone pulls something out of the bag and makes it look really exciting, I think that really does rocket him into the heads of everybody going, oh no, this guy's legit. He needs to be up here in these conversations for title shots.
I think the thing that is against Lerone in terms of getting a title shot straight after this fight is that there is Diego Lopez versus Jan Silva coming up, I believe, in September, UFC Noche. If Jan Silva wins that fight, he's probably winning by knockout because that's how Jan Silva wins fights. I think they might give it to Jan Silva. They like people with big finishes like him, and I think they'll give Jan Silva the win. If Diego Lopez wins, he's only recently lost to Volk, so that might give Lerone the chance to go past him there. The other thing to think of is what's going on with Mobzar. Mobzar pulled out through injury of this fight. Oh, my battery's running low. But it's very possible that they might have to get Mobzar in to fight Volk, or do they punish him again? I don't know. You're going to have to talk because I've got to charge my...
Not too sure. I mean, we've also got Yair Rodriguez in the mix there, Arnold Allen. We've spoke many times. We're going to do our best to avoid any discussions of Arnold Allen versus Lerone Murphy. And I think the fact that this fight has been made means that hopefully that won't be an immediate eventuality for Arnold or Lerone. I'm also... Yeah, I mean, I've not seen loads of Aaron Pico. I've watched, the highlight reels that the UFC have been sort of rolling with, and it looks great, and his record speaks for itself. But I think what it is very important to reiterate is the fact that he's doing this in other organisations now, and that is the case that it's not the UFC. The UFC is the Premiership. The UFC is where the best fighters are, and I'm hoping that Aaron Pico learns that on Saturday night, and we see Lerone do something special.
Lerone is undefeated. No one has solved the problem of Lerone Murphy yet, and Aaron Pico has lost fights.
People have run him over. People have shot him, and but you can't beat him.
You can't beat Lerone Murphy no matter what you do. But yeah, good luck to Lerone. We love Lerone on this show, and we want to see him do well. I'm going to skip over a fight and get to the other Brit on the card that we're big fans of. Michael Venom Paige is taking on Jared Cannonier. I thought Michael would be coming down to welterweight again. I thought he was going to deal with Shara Bullet, and then he was coming down to welterweight. But he's got this opportunity to take on Jared Cannonier, who I think might be something like 4th in the middleweight rankings. Let me just confirm that. He is... No, he's not. No. I swear this was different before. Jared Cannonier is only 9th in the middleweight rankings. I thought he was much higher than that, but that's a shame. So he's fighting the 9th ranked Jared Cannonier. I mean, I would favour MVP in this fight. I sort of favour MVP against anyone that's not a very, very good wrestler. How do you see this fight?
Cannonier, he likes to scrap, and I think, he's got bags and bags of experience, as does Michael Venom Page. But for me, I think in regards to the way that Cannonier fights, I think it's not necessarily a favourable matchup for him. I think that MVP's, awkwardness and very unique style could really do him some favours here. And I've been watching all the embeddeds, and MVP looks sharp, and he looks like he's in a good place as well. He's talking good stuff, and I think being over there as well with Lerone, I think I think spirits are going to be high, and I think I can't help but think that this isn't a bad weight division for MVP. I think what. The Shara Bullet thing was fun to watch, and I think this is a really good... If he gets a win over Cannonier, and as we've just spoken about that division, there is some new bods there, and but there's also lots of fights that haven't happened, and a lot of them fights that haven't happened involve Michael Venom Paige. So we could see him get some really exciting fights. Do I think MVP could be the middleweight champ? Possibly. But I think there's a few fights to be had yet. And as we know, MVP isn't getting any younger. And for me, I think his fight style revolves a lot around speed.
Yeah, I think he's got ultimately more chance at welterweight than middleweight. He's ranked 15th, though, at welterweight now. Could be ranked in 2 divisions, though. If he beats Cannonier and he's 9th at middleweight and he doesn't have to cut weight, you might as well see how far you can go in the middleweight division.
Absolutely.
And if he's matched favourably, I mean, who wouldn't want to watch Israel Adesanya versus MVP? I mean, I think they're friends, so I don't know if they would fight each other, but that would be a really fun fight.
MVP versus Sean Strickland, mate.
That would be a fun fight. MVP Robert Whittaker, I'd watch that all day long. I think Rob would try and take him down, though. And I think the problem is, when I look at Drius, Imavov, Hamzat, Renier Derrida, Fluffy Hernandez, Carl Borralho, Robert Whittaker, Brendan Allen, there's a lot of people in that division that will just take you down.
Brendan Allen's not a good matchup.
I think there's a lot of them that I would say are not great matchups for MVP. They will just try and take him down. But who knows? If you never know. MVP's got such a unique style. No one can prepare for him. Considering his age, he's still so quick. And that bouncing in and out style is really difficult for people to deal with. And there's not a striker really, other than, was it Diego Lima that just caught him once, and that was, sometimes you can just get caught. You don't want to get caught by Jared Cannonier. That guy hits like a truck. But I think MVP for three rounds.
Do you know what MVP needs?
Keep him away from him. And I don't know if it'll be exciting for the fans, because I think I always find MVP fights exciting, though, because I think his style's so interesting.
We need a little addendum to that highlight reel. We need something spectacular. We need a flying knee, a spinning hook kick, and then we need a fucking incredible celebration. And then all of a sudden, the world literally bursts into flames, hyping Michael Venom Paige. And then we start seeing him in the conversations to be fighting your Sean Stricklands, or as you said, potentially Izzy, or someone, a big name. He needs to do something that, he needs to do something along the lines of what got him in the UFC. That highlight reel that we all watched, that's what we need to see from MVP in the UFC. And I think if he can pull that off, I was watching again them embeddies I mentioned, practicing a spinning heel kick. I was watching him and it was like, come on, man, we'd love to see some of that. That'd be great. Real special knockout for MVP. That's what I want, mate. Yeah, I would want that too. I'd love to see both MVP and Lerone win their fights. Fighter coming back after his loss to the champion, after his debut loss to the champion, Kai Asakura coming back fighting Tim Elliott. Asakura ranked 15th without a single win in the UFC. It's interesting. I mean, I know he's only losses to the champion, but a bit strange. Tim Elliott ranked 11th is who he's fighting. We've given Kai the chance to breathe now. It's been about 8 months since that fight with Pantoja. He's got settled. He's hopefully got over all those kind of UFC nerves, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was a baptism of fire, wasn't it?
It really was, wasn't it? I mean, you're fighting one of the pound-for-pound best in the world at the moment. And you're coming from one championship, which, again, one championship, great organisation. Nothing wrong being a champion in one championship, but it's not the UFC. And, it'll be great to see the start of something exciting here from Kai Asakura. If he can build up, get a few wins over the likes of Tim Elliott, who is a tough fighter.
This is a good fight.
This is a good fight because it's like, where are you, Kai? I think you should be beating Tim Elliott, but let's make sure. And if Tim Elliott gets the win, then it's like, oh, Kai, you are not what we were promised. But if he wins this, then it's like, okay, now let's give you a guy that's like 8th or, whatever in the rankings, and build you up slowly and see if over the course of a year you can get 3 wins under your belt. And then we're going, okay, maybe this guy can fight for a belt again now. And that's what we need. We need him to build up against a guy who, Tim Elliott tends to lose to a lot of the top 10 competition. I'm just going to go through some of Tim's resume
he's a really good like gatekeeper to the top 10. I think it's a good position for him to be in, and I think these new pieces of young blood that are coming into the organisation, I think they should be tested. And don't get me wrong, the Pantoja thing, I weren't a fan of that fight when it got announced, but I think to earn your place in the top 10, I think a win over somebody that's got bags of experience like Tim, I think is a really, really good matchup.
Yeah, I mean, look, Tim Elliott is a guy that does get wins in the UFC, but when he goes up against someone that's top 5, top 10, he usually loses. And I look at, obviously, Demetrius Johnson, Davison Figueiredo, Askar Askarov, Brandon Royval, Mateus Nicolau, Mohamed Makayev, all losses because they are guys that are top 5, top 10 guys. If Kaya Sakura is a top 5, top 10 guy, he will win this fight. Yeah. And if he doesn't, then he's just not, in my opinion. There are some other fights on the card, really fun scrap. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. I mean, that'll just be a banger striking war. That'll just be a great fight to watch. I don't know really what's at stake for either of those guys in the welterweight division at the moment. They both need to just keep winning. Prates, coming off that loss to Ian Gary, and then did he get a win after that? Trying to think.
Yeah, I think I think that could be one of the fights on the card that we're all going to be talking about, because I do believe that could just be an absolute brawl. That I don't think we're going to see a lot of wrestling in that fight.
No, I think that's going to be a really fun fight. His last fight was the loss to Ian Gary. No shame in losing to Ian Gary, who's great. He was on a great run up until that point, though. And Jeff Neal represents a really tough fighter. Jeff Neal always, brings heavy hands, good boxing. And he's coming off a win over Rafael dos Anjos, which wasn't great. There was a leg injury, all those things. And before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak, but to Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Gary. So Jeff Neal, solid top 10 fighter, loses to some guys in the top 10, beats other guys. It's, he's a solid fighter. So again, if Prates is someone that can make it into the top 5 and maybe go for the belt one day, he needs to beat a Jeff Neal. Anything else that's really grabbing you? King Green's on the card against Diego Ferreira. 2 vets there, a 38-year-old versus a 40-year-old. Nice kind of age-appropriate matchmaking.
I'd love to say I'm excited for it, but I'm not really.
Yeah. Alexander Hernandez, Chase Hooper. That could be a fun fight. Jessica Andrade, Lupita Godinez. I can't speak today. Edson Barboza, Drakkar Klose. That'll be a banger. That should be a really fun fight when those two get together. All
in all, that's a great card.
It's a good card. It's, pay-per-view is nearly dead, but this is maybe worth your money. Although we get it for free anyway.
Exactly.
So some good cards. I am looking forward to waking up Sunday morning, coming downstairs and watching the hell out of this.
You've literally described that like Christmas.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is MMA Christmas this weekend, guys. Hamzat and Drius down your chimney.
Fantastic. All right, well, look, we'll be back next week to discuss how all of these fights played. In the meantime, head over to wherever you get your podcasts or YouTube and subscribe. Leave us a little comment. We're doing all right over on TikTok. I mean, we don't really know what we're doing, but we're getting a good little following over there, and there seems to be lots of people getting very vocal at some of our takes on there, which is always fun to see. Not always agreeing with our takes, which
are they being a little bit aggressive within?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, one guy got really.
I'm not
angry.
on TikTok, so I never see this, and I'm
guy
quite
got
glad.
Really angry and was just like, I think it was when we were talking about when we were saying where I thought that a prime Kane or a prime Junior Dos Santos would be a current Tom Aspinall, who I think isn't in his prime yet, Tom.
Yep.
Based on that, I think the bloke just said, great content. Can you do better, please? And I just really felt like just going, "Oh, sorry, mate. I'll give you a refund."
I think you should. You should respond to you. I'm so sorry. I'm really trying.
You didn't pay anything for it, you fucking idiot. Fuck's sake. It's free. Go and listen to another podcast.
It's funny, isn't it? People get very angry about it. It's weird. It's like, I don't feel like you talk to people like the dads at the school gates and be like, what? Fuck off. No, it's not. You mug. You wouldn't, but you see, you're on social media, all of a sudden everyone's just like having a massive go at you. I don't know. Yeah, brave. Because you're like 6'3" and do Muay Thai. Like, I don't think many people would say that to your face. They'd probably say it to me because I'm an idiot, but I don't think they'd say it to you.
Right. Well, yeah, we'll see you next week. In the meantime, head over to Fat Candy, use that discount code SWEETMMA, and have a lovely weekend and enjoy the fights.
Enjoy the fights.